Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys, Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07, Can'tQuitFishing.com, sportsman here locally at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, and 2021 Sportsman Champion. And Ted Baber of Ted Baber Video Productions, also locally here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. What's up, guys?
Good evening.
What's happening?
Well, a lot is happening. And Jim, you had your sportsman out there this past weekend on Saturday night for practice, and tell us a little bit of how that went.
It was a lot of fun. We took the 07 championship winning sportsman car to Five Flag Speedway, and we did some things with some tires, and then we ran for the money, which I wasn't going to, but my friend Ben Cranford bought the tires and paid for the transponder. And we ended up 6/100ths short of winning the $200, which we spent $250. So it was just for fun. And congratulations to Kevin Mitchell. He beat us on that, but I kind of took the wind out of his sails when I told him I had 2 used tires and he had 4 brand new ones. So we're going to be fast. I think we got a good shot at winning this race, and that's what I'm hoping. Pro late models was Ryan Luza, and the super lates was Jeff Chiquette. So they got the Jet Motorsports team took both late models, but Augie Grill, I believe, was the one in the modifieds. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. I can't remember who were the outlaws, but it was fun to play. It's fun to be out there, and the pits were full of cars. The sun was out. It was a beautiful day, and I have to report that the patch on the front straightaway has no effect. It didn't bother my car, didn't either which way, one shape or form. So. It's smooth. They did a great job with it.
The transition is really easy to get along with.
Oh yeah, there's no, you don't feel it. You don't even know it's there. So I mean, I'm telling you, that Panhandle Paving and Grading deserves kudos for doing that. And it's good to see everybody. It's always fun to be out there at the racetrack. So we had a good time.
Yeah, were you out there all day?
Man, if the racetrack's open and I can be there, I'm going to be there.
We're going to be there.
Yeah, we hung out and then we went and ate some dinner and then went on home. I mean, the car's quick. We had to make some wheelbase adjustments according to Ricky Brooks's tape measure, so we made them last night thanks to Ben Cranford and all his help, and Ted and his help, and Martin. We got that squared away. The Star 5 car will be ready. We had to put a starter on it, which means you got to pull a header off, so it's a pain in the butt, but it's done. Tomorrow I'll finish that up for them, and we're ready, man. Let's get this derby going.
If this stuff was easy, everybody'd be doing it, but it's not. So
no, and if you want to win and be a race car driver, you need to learn how to work on a car. Because I'm gonna tell you something, it's not much fun working on 2 cars and sometimes not with any help.
Yeah, I believe that. And you got any word about the tire situation for the sportsman class?
Yes, we are allowed 3 sets of tires, 2 to practice and 1 to race on. So I've already bought 2, and we're going to buy 2 more. We're not going to worry about practicing the night of. We're just going to put on some old tires and shake the car down, and then bolt on the good tires, go qualify, and then let the rough side drag.
Right.
Go have some fun.
Yeah, and Ted, were you out there Saturday getting any video or anything?
I got a little bit. Tried to get a little bit of each class, and it was interesting at times because I did have one car. He went by, and I wish I'd have turned around because as soon as he got out of frame, he does a loop. Like, crap, missed that one. But you never know when it's going to happen.
Well, the 24 of Caleb Burkett blew a motor, scattered it all over the racetrack. Oh, my gosh, he made a mess. But, it's all part of it. They blow a motor up. Now they got to go home, put the motor together, and get ready for the Derby. I felt with mine as the most power I've had in a while. It's amazing when you don't have a bent valve or 150 pounds compression, how much better the motor runs.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So, shame on them is all I can say.
Yeah, and I am understanding that there's 240 cars in all the divisions coming up for this Derby week. Which is kind of unprecedented. I know we've got quite a bit, but this is a really big number as far as the Derby week goes.
Yeah, it is. A lot of cars. And going to be good competition, that's for sure.
It's just going to be exciting to watch. The infield is just going to be absolutely packed with haulers and everything else there. It's like a city unto itself. It is a huge event.
And the weather looks pretty good. I've been paying attention. It looks like we're going to have highs around 70, lows in the 40s, so it's going to be nice and cool at night. and good during the day to be able to enjoy the time being out there with no rain so far. Thank goodness. Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, how many cars do you anticipate in the sportsman class?
No more than 20, I don't think.
Right.
I mean, it's there'll be some Mobile guys that'll last minute go, we'll put some tires on, we'll go to Pensacola and race. But, we'll probably have about 20 cars. If we can qualify in the top 5 and just when they drop the green, just go hard as we can go for 50 laps. And where it ends, it ends.
Yeah. You just have to beat 19 of them.
Yeah,
Right.
That's it. Not bad at all. That's not. Yeah. I've had to. I restarted one time 16th with 10 laps to go and finished 4th. So it's not impossible.
Well, the number 4 comes to mind because there are 4 drivers that are going to be here this year in the 54th annual Snowball Derby that have a chance to join the 14th club, and that's the 14th Snowball Derby start. And one that we have on our list to start is Mike Garvey. And Mike Garvey is he's a hot shoe from Michigan. And he's getting back behind the wheel after a pretty long hiatus. I think he's not been in this race or attempted this race since
2014.
2014. So, I mean, what do you guys think about something like that? We get in the car and then, with a name and his pedigree and all that kind of stuff, which we've gone over in episodes before about that youth and exposure and experience and all that. But Mike Garvey getting behind the wheel.
You can never count him out.
No, he's pretty good, man. He quit one year because he got mad in the B main. They kept sending him to the rear, and finally he just pulled off the track and quit. But I'll tell you a funny story. One year at the Derby, he was driving the Coors Light car when he was running ASA, and he showed up, and Freddie Query caused a big wreck, which got him and Rich Bickle and a couple other drivers. And Garvey come down pit road and stopped in his pit, and they fixed the car, and he rolled out, and all he said was, I'm going to get this SOB. And they went down the back straightaway, and he just knocked Query right up in the fence. Dunk! And as soon as he was done, Rich Bickle rolled back out, and he come on the radio, and he said, did Garvey get Query? He said, 10-4. He said, that's what I came back out here to do. Never mind. He come down pit road and parked it. But Garvey's a hell of a shoe. He's a threat because he knows his way around Five Flag Speedway. He's really good. So he could do it. That would be a neat win too.
Everybody he's worked with has had great success out there too.
Conor Okrezik and Chris Davidson.
Yeah.
Our 2-time pro late model track champion.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Mike Garvey being the oldest of the 4, we've got, and being a northerner from his heritage, I guess, coming down from Michigan. But, Casey Smith, Bubba Pollard, and Grant Enfinger, all from the South that are of that 4 that have a chance to become a 14th time. And that starts, I think David Rogers got... to 36, 30, I think.
Yeah. 30, I think so, yeah.
35 or 36 starts in the Snowball Derby. But, 14's a lot. And there's 4 of them that are in line for that. And of those younger 3, I guess, Casey Smith and Bubba Pollard and Grant Enfinger, which of those 3 would favor?
There is none. They're all great drivers. They've all had huge successes out there.
Well, Bubba Pollard and Casey Smith have both won a race at Five Flags this year.
Exactly.
Bubba starting 17th and winning that race, and then Casey Smith getting out front and saying adios in that 99 car.
Yeah, he's got it set up. Admittedly, the weather's going to be different. It's going to throw things off a little bit, but I talked to him when he won that race. He said it's all about little changes, and all you got to do is just keep up with the changes, have the adjustability in the car, and you could be golden.
Yep, yeah. He's a heck of a driver. Him, Bubba Pollard, too, because we all know we're all Bubba Pollard fans. Like I said, all hail the Bubba Pollard fender in our studio.
Right.
It's autographed, which is freaking awesome.
Yes. Thank you again, sir.
That was from the car that he won, and then went out the next week, was running the top 10 and had a part failure and hit the fence.
Right.
So you never count him out. You don't count Mike Garvey out, and you do not count out Casey Smith.
We talked about Grant Enfinger too.
Man. Yeah. Camping World Truck Series.
Yes, indeed.
Winner about 4 or 5 times, won at Daytona. He won 2 or 3 this year.
He sat on the pole in the Derby one year too, so you can't.
Yep, he's got a ton of talent. He's come close to winning the Derby at least once. So
he was practicing Saturday too. So
he was out there with Go Fast.
Well, it kind of looks like we've got a race between the 4, being in your 14th consecutive snowballs derby
if
start.
they get in.
If they get
Now,
in.
I'm going to tell you, those 4 could go home.
Yes,
like I said,
that's correct.
The Noah Gregson last year, who was a contender for the Xfinity Championship this year, went home.
Home.
In a Phoenix construction number 51, that is no slouch of an automobile, and he went to the house.
Augie has not made the race before on time. So
he's had to run the last chance race a few times. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you just never know.
Exactly.
You might have some guy that comes down here and just figures something out and busts off a lap, makes the show, and you go home.
Yeah.
And it can come down to thousandths of a second.
Yes, exactly.
The spread from fast to slows could be 1500ths. You just never know.
You're right. And that's why pole night is so exciting. Just to, when they bust off, and especially if it's a nice cold night, there's going to be some fast laps. Oh man. Yeah. They come out of the pits and try to heat the tires up. Of course, they give them a courtesy lap. They used to not do that. Right. You come out of the pits and them tires were cold, and I've seen people just eat the guardrail and destroy a brand new race car coming out to qualify.
Yeah.
So you don't think that reconstruction of that front strip of pavement and just going to change if the weather gets a little cooler? You always know when it gets cold, you got a lot more grip, and you've got times that are going to go more horsepower. The times are going to come down, but if it's cold, you just got through explaining that sprint strip that they just laid down on the front straightaway is not going to really play a factor. But
I don't think so.
With the late models and the bigger tires, you don't think that would have any effect on that?
I don't think so. I like I said, I couldn't feel any difference. The car hit the chip after it got there. It didn't do anything silly. The transition was absolutely phenomenal, smooth. I can't imagine what it's like in a late model because they're on bump rubber, so they're bouncing around pretty hard. But in our cars, it wasn't. I couldn't feel anything. So, it's going to be interesting, but I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. I mean, it may make the late models a little faster with a little more grip towards the start-finish line. But
if you have to have that last second burst, you got the grip under you.
Yeah, or you turn your nitro bottle on about the time you get on that fresh asphalt.
Yeah, and just for our listeners too, when you talk about chip, just explain what you mean when you're hitting the chip. Okay, a lot of people that are just listening and they're the short track fans, but they hear it, but they don't understand what goes behind all that.
There's a box, and late models have them. Our cars have them. We're limited to the RPMs that our engineers are allowed to turn, which ours is 6,200 RPMs. When the engine turns to 6,200, the box has a chip in it. It's a little white chip with 2 prongs that goes in, and what it does, it's a resistor. When the engine hits 6,200 RPMs, it won't allow it. It'll start dropping cylinders. In other words, it starts cutting cylinders out on the engine to slow the car down, so you don't over rev the engine. Right. The late models run them. We run them. The modifieds run them. You're a fool not to have one, because if you blow a drive shaft or something and you got your foot stuck in it, if you have one, it'll save your engine. If you don't, you're, and all of a sudden the drive shaft falls out and you got her on the floor, and then the rod and piston and chunks of head. And,
like Caleb.
Pieces of oil pan and stuff go flying everywhere. So a rev limiter is a good thing to have.
Yeah. It'll save the engine in a lot of situations. And a lot of boxes are different too. You hear them when they hit the chip. A lot of them sound different. The way they are set up to cut the cylinders.
Well, it's good to know for our listeners to understand. When you hear that down the front straightaway or going into corners 1 or 3, then they hit that. They probably have the idea that there's something wrong with it, right. And then they hear some of them early, some of them late, but then it's just a matter of the gearing and all that kind of stuff that goes in. There's a lot more to it than that. But when you say chip, and now our listeners understand that, there's an RPM. It's like a rev limiter, right? So you can only go to a certain point, and then the engine just kind of protects itself and getting in the corners, and then you get back on the gas.
The late models use it as a shutdown point for qualifying. I mean, you'll hear especially the pro cars. They're like, what? It's like da 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 da. Right. They'll run like 4 hits past the box. You'll hear it go pop 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 pop. And I usually go 2 or 3 past mine when I'm qualifying. They go dut dut dut, and I'll count it 1, 2, 3, lift, turn in, drive the center.
Well, there are some names that we had last episode that we were unsure of. They've got a big race we're going to get into just now. It's at 417 Southern Speedway down in Punta Gorda. We made touch with Jennifer Brinson down at Sunshine State Racing if they were going to have a Facebook maybe a live look-in with the big Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128 this week with Ty Majeski and possibly Jesse Dutilli, George Gorham, and all those guys coming down. We haven't had word that those guys are coming up, although Majeski will be here. And we threw Josh Berry in there as well. But they are going to have a pre-race view, and then they're going to cut off, and I guess they're going to go to pay-per-view from some other source, which we don't really understand, don't know about it. But that's not going to be like they normally do on Facebook. But it's going to be a big race and a kind of a tune-up to get some of these guys up here. And maybe we might have Jesse Dutilli and George Gorham and I think Michael Atwell's already listed to be here. So that's going to be a big race before they come up here.
Well, some people have 2 cars, some people don't. And, if you're going to run the Derby, you're going to have to flip that car around, change all the setup, get everything different, ready to rock. It's going to be hard. Like I said, some guys may just say, I ain't doing it. And I don't really like the fact, and nothing against 417 Speedway, but why hold the dadgum race 1 week before the biggest short track event in America? Why not do it earlier in the year? Do it because it's kind of better, like a better phrase, BS that they're doing this 1 week before the Snowball Derby. They're and they're putting up a bunch of money for 128 laps. That's why Ty Majeski's going. It's no brainer for him. I'll go there and win that $20,000. That's fine. But do it some of the time that you're not conflicting, because the promoters should work together, because you're killing yourself. You're taking cars away from the Derby, or that race is getting cars taken away from it. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, nothing against them. I'm glad to see them racing, but do that race some of the time during the year when you're not right there on top of the Snowball Derby. Just one short track guy's opinion.
It makes a difficult decision. Do you try to do both? You just do one, or you hope that you survive the one to get to the other?
Yeah, and I mean, how much money those guys spend to run those races? And you're and you got to practice for the Snowball. So you can't just show up and practice for a couple of days. You got to go down and at least do one test, and then go down there and run that race and pray you don't destroy the car. And then, like I said, Michael Atwell was here practicing. So obviously he has 2 cars. So he has one he's got ready for the Derby, and he brought it up practice. It was pretty cool. It was a late model on an open trailer, which I thought was pretty cool because I hadn't seen that.
Right.
But, it like I said, promoters should think, well, this is a Snowball Derby. It could hurt us, or it's not going to help us. It's going to hurt us in a way, and we're going to hurt the Snowball Derby. So why don't we help each other? You know what I mean? Right. Just like I said, just my opinion.
Well, we're talking, 3 or 4 drivers, and we know one's already listed to be here.
And Stephen Nassy too. He's doing double duty.
Yeah, and you got 55, probably 55 or 56, I think now. Super late models just get in for 30 spots.
Right.
So I mean, the field is no doubt a stellar field again. It seems like it's like that every year. Whether you got Cup drivers or truck drivers or Xfinity drivers or modified drivers, and we've got a couple of them that we have mentioned before with Ryan Preece coming in. But you look at the list; it's just one after another after another after another. It's 55, 56 that are listed that could win the race.
Oh yeah, drivers. Definitely. But I'm just saying from a competitive point of view, don't put the races this close together, because not only that, most of these late model teams don't have 10 guys to flip the car. You got some buddies that come over after work, and now you're putting them in there having to kill themselves to get this car flipped around to go race.
Right. Have to make sure it's going to meet tech too.
Tech and make sure the shocks are right and the springs, and then you got to go over and test. And then it's to me, it doesn't make any sense to do 1 week from the Snowball Derby. I'm sorry, and nothing against Mr. Bill Bigley. He was a great man. His son Billy Bigley Jr. watched him race. They're all good people, but try working together. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm wondering if the tire issue is going to rear its ugly head. If they've got to have tires for both tracks and both races.
No, tires are done. We've got plenty of tires for the Snowball. They've already got that covered. They were telling us we could have 3 sets. I ain't buying them. But, late models are allowed like 3 sets of practice tires, 1 set for the race, or 2 sets for the race, or whatever. So they've got it figured out.
So we're going to throw some names in there. We've Ty Majeski down there at 417 going to go after that 128 with the big prize money. He's just coming off a big win at the South Carolina 400. Right. At Florence Motor Speedway with Carson Kvapel, which we all have touched on, that is taking over the number 8 seat with Junior Motorsports from Josh Berry. Josh Berry's going full-time in Xfinity next year in 2022. Carson Kvapel was there, finishing second. Brandon Pierce, Connor Hall, and Doug Barnes. We have some notables with Sammy Smith and 8s. Bobby McCarty. This was the late model cars tour, and Bobby McCarty finished his 10th. Corey Heim, which we all know in the Truck Series, right. He's on his way up in the ladder, finished 11th. And Chad McCumbee did finish 27th, but a little story on Chad McCumbee, if you haven't watched the movie 3 that's based on Dale Earnhardt. Chad McCumbee actually played Dale Jr. in that movie, and he's an actual real-life driver, and he's been active ever since, and then even during the movie shoot. And if you haven't seen 3, I would definitely suggest watching that, because it's give you a little bit of insight of the Earnhardt story and the short track racing and going through the grassroots and being what did Earnhardt say? Was you don't want to go back to being a stroker, on the Friday or Saturday night dirt track kind of thing. He wanted to make it big time, and he did. But Chad McCumbee was in that race, and he finished at the tail of the end. But just a little story about Chad McCumbee, and he's a good driver.
Oh, I did not know that. Cool.
So
very cool.
Yeah, so covered 417 with the Bigley 128 this weekend. We got Derby coming up. It's the excitement is building. We're gonna go and kind of touch our roots back in our backyard here at Southern Raceway in Milton. We had a big race this past weekend with a big late model deal that went on. It was a $20,000 to win race, which is
huge.
Kind of standard now. For every big event that goes on, it says 20,000 plus.
20 grand.
Yeah, exactly, 20 grand. And Mr. Big Sexy, we've talked about him before. Brandon Overton comes down his first time at Southern Raceway, and
King of the Sandbox.
Yeah, King of the Sandbox for sure. And he kind of said in his interview he liked what he saw and just kind of get used to it and follow the guys and figure it out. But figured out he did.
Yeah, Southern is a sandbox. It dry slicks really bad, and you got to know what you're doing, tires and whatever. And it was a 60-lap feature. Bo Slay sat on the pole. He's a local driver. Bo in a brand new late model, so that's pretty cool. But Brandon Overton took over, and just in his 30th win of the season, by the way.
Wow.
That's insane, isn't it? And second place was a dude named Max Blair, and then third was a local guy, Bo Slay. But considering that Big Sexy has won 30 races this year, that's pretty damn impressive, because of the kind of dirt late model racing he does. He races against big guys.
Yeah.
No chumps in that deal. You got Superman, you got Scott Bloomquist. Yeah. They call him. Oh my God, I can't think of the names. There's so many of them. Your mind boggles at the people he races against. And when Bo Slay got out in front of him, I thought, dang, Bo Slay might win this thing. But Brandon Overton had the car set up right and ended up winning. So that's good to him, and especially in our backyard here at Milton, Florida, at Southern Raceway.
$100,000 dream, double down winner, won the World 100, and you go against Tim McCready and Tyler Erb and all those guys in that big circuit that come down, and it's good because Bloomquist has been down at Southern here in Milton, which is just about 30 minutes east of where we are in our studio. So you can go 30 minutes either way and hit 5 or 6 different racetracks around here, dirt and asphalt. So, we've got I wouldn't say the creme de la creme, but we have an opportunity to go and see a variety of drivers that come, and we talk about, the nation, some of these drivers that come in to kind of visit. So we kind of love it.
I've seen Tony Stewart at Southern before.
Yeah, Tony Stewart has been here
quite a few times.
I think this summer he was here.
Yeah, he was. He runs with the sprint car circuit that he's actually part owner of, but he doesn't allow them to promote him coming, because he doesn't want anybody to come to watch him. They want to come to watch the sprint cars. Right. And he said, I'm not Tony Stewart, the Cup driver. I'm Tony Stewart, the sprint car driver. I'll tell you a funny story about him. I had one of my pet skunks, And I was standing in line to have his autograph. I have an autograph book I've had since I was 9 years old. And I said, well, I'm going to get Tony to sign it. So I'm standing there. I had Daffodil, one of my black and white skunks, on my shoulder. And he signs the autograph guy in front of me. And he kind of turns around and he looks up and he kind of takes a step back and his eyes got real wide. He goes, that's different. I was like, no, I don't want you to sign my skunk, but I do want you to sign my autograph book. And he signs it. Well, his girlfriend at the time comes out of the trailer. Oh, my God, can I see it? Can I hold it? And I give it to him. He stayedly signed every autograph. His truck was sitting there running. They had all their stuff loaded. Just as soon as he was done, he had to run and go to Milton Airport, get on his little plane, and head back. But that was pretty cool. It was neat to see him there, and he doesn't act like a superstar. Kenny Schrader's been to Southern.
Yep.
And I love Kenny Schrader. I have a big heart for Kenny Schrader. He's such a great guy.
I think Kenny Wallace has been here too.
He has.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of big name late model drivers have run Southern, but that's pretty cool.
I think Tony Stewart's actually dabbling in the NHRA too. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I don't know if it's a funny car or pro stock, but I'm pretty
think
sure
it is
when I
funny
saw,
car.
I think it is funny car too.
Yeah.
But who knows? You see Tony Stewart, and the race car drivers, man, it's in your blood. Like the old saying is from once again the movie 3. They can't put it in you, and they can't take it out. And
Right.
that's absolutely true. So.
Oh, racing is like crack, that's for sure. I'm telling you, I've been addicted to it for so dadgum long. I can't. When racing season's over, I'm like, oh God, thank God the Derby's over. I take a break. About 1st of January, I'm smacking my arm because I can't get any fix. You know what I mean? I need a hit, man.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go racing.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but it's a wonderful sport. I love it, and I just can't say enough good about it.
Well, we all love it, and that's why we do it. And we get together and we talk short track racing here and there. And
That's right.
we crisscross the country. We go down south, thanks to Sunshine State Racing and Jennifer Brisson 417 down there to, bring us the information. And we go all the way to California. We go to Maine. We go to Canada. We go to Alaska. I mean, we do dirt. We do asphalt, and we're going to get into go-karts too here soon.
Shifter carts, man.
We look forward to more experience we get and the more information we gather, the more time we can spend talking short track racing.
Very true.
But that's where we need our listeners' help to send us information.
Correct.
Let us know when you got a big race coming up. We'll help you out with it. We just want to have fun with you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do appreciate your support. We appreciate you listening. Look us up on our Facebook page, Short Track Guys Podcast on Facebook. Leave us a comment, good or bad. We're here for you. We want you there for us. And we all want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow.
Happy Thanksgiving, yep.
Don't eat too much.
Turkey put you to sleep.
But, every Thanksgiving that's impossible because you're always going for seconds and thirds.
And you missed the football game because you're snoring on the chair, drooling on yourself.
Exactly. Well, that's that's the plan anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cranberries.
Yeah. Some pie. Gotta have some good pie and desserts and everything else. You're so jacked up, you fall asleep and
I got to
wake
watch
up
that
around New
sugar
Year's.
stuff because it'll put me in a coma for sure.
Yeah, but, there'll be some guys or some girls, gals, that will be thinking about sneaking out and catching another 20, 30 minutes in the shop, tweaking on something, getting the car ready for a race coming up or maybe next season, whatever the situation may be. And you got family members coming over, want to go to the shop and check the car out, and you want to fire it up and let it rumble a little bit and give them the entertainment kind of thing. It's like introduction of what we do and
the need for speed.
Yeah, the need for speed for sure on the ground, obviously. But we always anticipate excitement going on this time of year, and it's always great to get with you guys and talk short track racing. And it's it comes down to an excitement and a passion and knowledge and sharing it with everybody, which is this part of the year we enjoy it.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
I do have to interject one unfortunate note. I don't mean for it to be an upsetting situation, but I will be missing the Derby this year because I have plans for the weekend that unfortunately came to pass when my brother passed away last Sunday. So his memorial service will be not this Saturday, this weekend, but the next weekend during the Derby. So unfortunately, I have to forego this one. I've been at over 20 of them so far, and this one it's vitally important for me to be someplace else that particular weekend.
Yeah, family first, man. Always family first.
Exactly. And Ted, we do send our thoughts and prayers out to you and your family.
I appreciate that.
It's very sad news for us to hear. But short track guys and our racing community and families are all together.
Right.
And, we're all with you in spirit and in person now. So we've got your back. And, if you ever need anything, you just let us know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
All right, gentlemen. That wraps up a Wednesday. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And let's get ready for some short track racing this weekend. Get ready for the Derby. Get ready for some holidays. And, 2022 is coming up shortly too, so but we're gonna hang on to this one just as long as we can because the excitement's building every day, and we'll gather some more information and we'll get together with you guys next Wednesday. Contact Jim Pokrant at jpb07@hotmail.com. Ted Baber, Ted_Baber at yahoo.com. Comments or questions, let us know, leave us a comment, and we appreciate you listening, and your support means everything to us. It's our motivation.
Absolutely.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah.
What he said.
Thanks for listening. Good night, everybody.